Oh Yeah is brought to you by the Basics collection from Highly Clutch T-shirts. Fall is my favorite time of year. The weather finally starts cooling down, football season is in full swing, and the holidays are right around the corner. And in the fall, a comfortable hoodie is the most important part of your wardrobe. Hoodies are one of the single greatest garments invented. The problem is some brands try and go way too hard with their hoodies designs instead of just sticking to the basics. That's why I'm so hyped on Highly Clutch debuting the Hoodies Basics collection, which is about to become your new favorite hoodie. These hoodies come in 8 different colors, made from extremely soft heathered fleece that's a blend of 60% cotton and 40% polyester. They come in singles and packs of 2. Check them out at highlyclutch.com and click the Basics tab at the top of the page to shop the collection. And now, back to Oh Yeah, the Entourage podcast.
I agree with drama. I mean, he's making me sick with the metaphors, but Ari's not doing this out of friendship.
We'll make it a lunch.
Yeah, well, you could still have dessert after lunch.
Better make it a coffee.
Good thinking. Coffee says, I sip, but I ain't sucking.
Oh, hi. Hello there. Welcome back, everybody, to Oh Yeah, the Entourage podcast. I am your host, J.R. Hickey, coming to you from San Francisco, California. New season, Season 3B, Episode 1, Less Than 30. Super excited to dive in to the new mini-season with you guys. Thank you to everyone that submitted voice memos last week. The voice message episode was a complete success, in my opinion. I really am looking forward to doing that again. We'll definitely have one before the end of the year, so get your questions and your memos ready. My guest this week for Less Than 30 was the extremely talented and hysterical Hannah Berner. She hosts the Berning in Hell podcast. She's an online personality, a comedian. She's also an actress. She was on the Bravo TV show Summer House this past summer. Her stock is rising. She's hysterical. She's from Brooklyn originally. It was great to get a female on the pod. Always great to get the female's perspective on Entourage. And when Hannah and I first spoke, before we started recording, she dropped some news on me. She had never seen an episode of Entourage before. Now, before everyone goes running to turn off their podcast app or change over to a different episode, this was an awesome episode. Hannah just got it. She watched the episode a few times. She took some notes. She had 1 or 2 clarifying questions. And to be honest, having someone on the pod who had never seen the show before made for some really great conversation. It also, in my opinion, was the perfect episode to bring her in on. First episode of a new mini-season. Things are changing. New characters are introduced. Hannah fucking crushed it. This is an awesome episode. I'm looking forward to you guys listening to our conversation. Check out our upcoming show dates in the links that I'm putting in the bio of today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the Spotify playlist that's in there as well. And thank you to everyone that's been leaving 5-star reviews. We have an awesome lineup of guests for these last 8 episodes that we're going to talk about in 2019. Keep this train rolling in 2020 and continue our drive down Sunset Boulevard. So without further ado, let's talk about Less Than 30 with Hannah Berner. All right, everyone, we are back. Season 3B, Episode 1 or Episode 13, depending on who you're talking to. It's essentially the premiere of the second part of Season 3 of Entourage. As you guys know, the writer's strike back in 2006-2007 cut the season in half. Less Than 30. Our guest today, the very funny host of the insanely popular podcast Berning in Hell. She's also an official cast member of Summer House on Bravo. Dialing in from New York City, Hannah Berner. Welcome to the Entourage podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. I'm excited. That was quite the introduction.
Yeah, I tried to gas my guests up before, and it's a Wednesday morning right now, so it's we got to get our energy levels up a little bit here for this.
Yeah, I'm already impressed because you're 3 hours before me, and you sound way more energetic than me.
Have to do it. That's what as you host a podcast yourself. Sometimes you have to bring it.
Yeah, 100%. But I don't book before noon because I know myself. But no, I was very excited. I watched this last night, so it's fresh in my mind, and I'm ready to talk all the shit.
Well, here's the best part, and I cannot wait to break the news to our guests. Hannah, this was your first time watching Entourage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's so funny because before I called you, I'm like, okay, he's going to judge me by me saying I've never watched it because clearly he loves it more than life itself. So I was like, do I say like, oh, I've kind of seen it, but that'll get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Like I'll like mess up one of the guys' names and you'll be like, what? his his, his name what? That's so. I was like, you know what? Honesty is the best
Yes.
policy.
Honesty is always
I
the best
just like
policy.
I just get like Vince's name wrong, and you're just like, it's. Are you that tired? So yeah, I've never seen it before. Last night was the first time I ever watched Entourage.
I kind of love this, and I already know like some of our fans are going to be like, "What the fuck?" I've been meaning to do this as of late with someone who's never seen the show before. This is kind of the perfect episode. It's the first episode of this shortened season. It's kind of a transitional episode. You're being introduced to new characters. It's not considered one of the like top 10 Entourage episodes, so we're not like wasting. I want to have fun with this today.
Oh, it will not be a waste. Don't you worry.
Perfect.
But also, it's not like I purposely have been living my life avoiding Entourage. It's actually like definitely people have mentioned to me you should watch it. I'm not like a huge TV watcher. Like I'm one of those people that, you know, if you just say a random line of like a Wedding Crashers, you know, quote, I'm not one to know it. That's just who I am. So I'm just not like an avid TV watcher, but I love that this was a great excuse to watch it.
And I love that you were willing and able to do it, and you just want to dive into the deep end with the Entourage guys.
It's funny. I actually started Game of Thrones like season 4.
Oh wow!
Because like my ex at the time was watching it, and he got so mad at me. He's like, "You can't just start in the middle." And I'm like,
Jesus.
"It's better than me not watching it with you." And he's like, "Now you know who doesn't die." And I'm like, "It's fine." So I like starting things in the middle and then figuring it out.
Perfect. I think Entourage is a little bit more lower stakes than Game of Thrones. I think you can pick up Entourage midway through and kind of get the gist. Okay, he's the movie star.
I didn't have to stop to, research, family storylines of who's murdered who in the past. So that was nice.
Some would say, though, that it's just as dramatic as Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama, just less blood.
Before we dive into the episode, so real quick, Entourage premiered in 2004, ran through 2011, so you had to have been around this time in your life, like people at school talking about it, like your friends.
2004, I was a fresh. 2009, I graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 2004, I was like a freshman in high school. So it was definitely like a lot of my guy friends just loved it. It's all they talked about. So I was
perfect. So you're representing for them. You're here representing on their behalf.
I could have been a follower, but I was like, no, I'm not going to watch the show everyone loves. So I'm just a rebel.
Love it. So let's go back. Let's talk about this week's episode. Every week I talked about a little time capsule. This episode aired on Sunday, April 8th, 2007. Usually episodes drop in August and there's never anything going on, so I'm glad that this season started in April because there was a ton going on in the world back in 2007.
Interesting. Right before the economy collapsed.
Correct. And just a few weeks beforehand, over the course of a 2-week period, the princess of pop herself, Britney Spears, who was in the midst of a custody battle with ex-husband Kevin Federline, she checked in and out of 2 separate rehab clinics. She spent less than a day at each. She shaved her own head at a hair salon. She got 2 tattoos. She attacked a paparazzi's car with an umbrella at a gas station. And then she finally checked into a 3rd rehab clinic where she actually stuck it out for a whole month. Iconic time period in pop culture history.
Iconic icon, IQUE. That's what I call that. Wait, what was she in rehab for?
I think it was stress, severe stress. I don't think she ever had any
stress.
This was like the lowest point in her career, let's be honest. This was a very, very public meltdown, and people didn't think she'd bounce back from that.
It's funny because she's like currently going through this like second kind of meltdown on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know why her management lets her post, but I'm happy about it. But there's some kind of thing where like people are like, free Britney, like she's in some kind of contract that you can't get out of. Who knows? But yeah, I think there's something happening now, so it's interesting.
I mean, I think the prevailing rumor is that like her management controls like every single thing that she does. She's essentially, slave is a serious word to be throwing around in 2019, but like she's kind of a slave to her image and stuff like that. But she's definitely bounced back from this low point in 2007.
And also, it was such a huge part of our current meme culture, which is like memes saying, now I understand Britney's shaving her head in 2007 now that I'm an adult. So it's like, it's kept her relevant, just not in the most positive light.
She just had a Vegas residency, which grossed over $100 million to date. Her 2016 album, Glory, sold more than 100,000 units in its first week, which is a big deal now that everything's streaming. So, like,
maybe Christina Aguilera should have shaved her head and she would have been more relevant right now. You don't see Britney having to be on The Voice.
Well, Christina Aguilera, actually, you don't know this, was in the last season of Entourage.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea. I was a Christina fan back in the day. I loved her.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I was a fan of either, because I was, same time period, like high school, but I probably just preferred Britney.
I thought that Britney was like annoying and Christina was like the talented one. But now I feel like Christina's kind of a C word and Britney is more relatable and not the perfect like sex doll that they made her out to be.
Well, Christina never did Crossroads, so I'm putting that as a win.
Valid.
Britney's talent.
That is true talent. Crossroads is talent. I know talent when I see it. Speaking of talent,
let's talk about Vinny Chase's birthday. In this week's episode, let me do a quick summary. For the listeners who maybe didn't have a chance to rewatch the episode, it's Vince's birthday, and Amanda, his new agent, has 2 gifts: courtside seats to a Lakers game and an offer to star in an adaptation of an Edith Wharton novel. The basketball game ends up being somewhat awkward because Vince sees Ari, but responding to Amanda's enthusiasm for the Wharton script, Vince expresses interest in taking the project. Seeing Vince at the game reopens Ari's wound about losing his star client and begins a campaign to woo him back. He sets up a friendly birthday meal with Vince and presents him with his gift: the news that Median, Vince's dream project, is once again available. Meanwhile, Turtle and Drama have been tasked with planning a birthday party for Vince, but they're having trouble fitting their bid plans into their limited budget. Turtle wants to hold the party on a boat, but the only vessel with a big enough capacity is the Queen Mary. In a flash of inspiration, Turtle solves the budget crisis, sponsoring the party. The party is huge, with scores of Hollywood players in attendance, including both Ari and Amanda, who face off in front of Vince. Eventually, Ari retreats, but not before his mission is accomplished. Vince decides to table the Wharton project just in case Median really is available. Hannah, what was your favorite moment from this episode?
Okay, I think that Amanda's opening scene was epic.
Yep.
Is this the first time you ever see Amanda?
This is the first time we meet the Amanda character, played by the beautiful Carla Gugino.
Gorgeous. And I think that you kind of sensed in the beginning, who's this Amanda girl?
Mm-hmm.
And she just like did not let down. She was like stunning on screen. Her presence was so powerful, but sexy, but smart. And like she just kind of owned that scene. And you almost like are rooting for her just because you want to see more of her.
She kind of like whips the boys into shape. She's like, who did their reading last night? And they're like, I did 3, I did 4. Like, she's kind of like a school teacher in a way.
Hey, is that my agent or America's Next Top Model?
Don't patronize me. I know I look like shit. I was up all night fighting with my ex.
Over the house again?
No, the dog. What kind of man sues for custody of a labradoodle anyway? Sit. So, who did their required reading last night? How many?
I read 4 of them.
That's impressive. Vince?
I read half of 3. Look, Amanda, you have to understand that you send some very large scripts.
It's true. The scripts Ari used to send us are in the 90 to 104 page range. Yours are closer to 140.
It leaves me no time for skincare.
Can you briefly summarize how did Ari lose Vince?
That's a great question. Essentially,
because they didn't hit on that.
It's the primary plot of the last 2 episodes of like the previous season, and Vince had like a passion project. It was a Ramones biopic where he was going to play Joey Ramone, and through Ari like kind of fucking up his relationship with the producer, Ari gets the project like taken away from Vince. Essentially, Ari loses like a bid project on Vince's behalf.
So Vince had to say goodbye?
Yes, they fire him at the end of season 3A.
Okay.
Of course, it's in the middle of this weird thing where like they broke the season into 2 pieces because of the writer's strike. I was surprised that you found the actual episode, as it's hard to describe where it is.
Well, the whole B thing was kind of strange to me, but I'm like, maybe this is what they do in Entourage. They just add random letters.
Just this season.
It's funny because I'm like just starting in my career to deal with like I have a manager, but I'm like just starting to talk to a lot of agents.
Yep.
And so I actually was laughing about it, but I actually feel like in this industry, if you fire someone, a lot of the time I feel like they wouldn't go chasing back for you. They'd be like, fuck you. Like there's too much talent for them to.
My roster's too big.
Exactly. But seeing Ari kind of put his tail between his legs was funny.
The thing about the show is that Ari considers Vince a friend first, and we'll talk about the friendship
they've
stuff.
known each other for a long time. Yeah. But anyway, I think I mean, I think Amanda is like, if they're gonna have an agent compete with this like star quality of Ari, Amanda nailed it, and it was a hard casting probably.
Oh, and she's great. She's intimidating. She's sexy. She's confident. She like doesn't take shit. I loved it. And your mention earlier about Ari kind of like having his tail between his legs, that's actually my favorite moment from the episode. So it's when he like tries to call Vince and then he hangs up because he's nervous.
Hello?
Did you just prank Vince?
I never heard the guy answer the phone before. It spooked me.
He's gonna know it's you. Our company name comes up.
Why does it come up? Whose idea was that? What's the fucking point?
I don't know.
He's not gonna know it's me. Could have been you calling drama.
True.
What do I care if he thinks it was me? I meant to call. I'm calling him again. In a minute? You call drama first so he thinks it was you.
It was like...
Because he would never do that.
I know, but it was endearing to the character.
Yeah. Like, it's unlike him. He's normally very cocky.
He's normally like the like biggest swinging dick in the room, for lack of a better word. And
this is my first episode. I'm like, that's so not like Ari.
you just knew it.
Amazing.
Hannah, every week we do something called our favorite bros being bros moment, and that's not the 2019 equivalent of bro. It's just like the moment of friendship that you see on the show. And obviously, females can be bros too. They can have like female moments of friendship. Now, there aren't a ton of female characters on the show, unfortunately. But any moments of friendship jumping out at you from this episode that you particularly liked?
I actually liked... There's the obvious, you know, the guys throwing the party for him and them not letting him pay.
Yep.
But it's like, I feel like he's done a lot for them, so that made sense. There was a specific moment where E is sitting at the brunch table or breakfast table. I'm so millennial of me being like, the brunch. They're getting coffee. So E was with, I'm getting this. E was with Vince.
Yep.
And Ari had gone to the bathroom. And E was like, do you want to invite him to the party? and Vince was like, yeah.
Not a word about business, E.
Very impressive.
Should I invite him to the party?
You want to invite him to the party?
I want to invite him to the party.
Then you should invite him to the party.
Here he comes.
All right. What do you guys think about dessert?
No dessert.
All right, just check that.
I already got it already.
Wow, E, you are really officially keeping this unofficial.
Just friends, Ari, just friends.
Just friends, absolutely.
So, Ari, I'm having a little...
I'd love to come to your party, Vinny. Thank you.
And you could tell that E was kind of like it wasn't a very smart move probably, and it actually turned out to be bad for the team, maybe adding conflict. But E just wanted him to be happy and was just like, then you should. And I think it was a great showing of like, it was for Vince's birthday and he wasn't being selfish and he was like, whatever makes Vince happy. And I like that. I don't like when people kind of put their own motives ahead of someone else.
That's a great moment, and it's very resonant to 2019 because how many times have we been at like an awkward situation where we're like, oh, we're doing this thing, but we don't want to invite this person, and or we don't know if we should invite this person, so you kind of like wait to see how it goes. And
yeah, and even earlier he had mentioned like, Vince is not going to invite Ari, so the fact that he saw Vince wanted it, and he could also be like, I want to have my friendship, but he was like, I want this guy to rekindle this friendship with this person in his life if he thinks it's important to him.
That's probably, I didn't have that down as one of my bros being bros moment, but that is very insightful, Hannah. Like, that is
Thank you.
Probably the most bros being bros moment there could be. I said a lot of the same stuff, like Ian Turtle throwing Vince a birthday party, drama kind of like warning Vince and E about going to lunch with Ari.
Maybe lunch, no dinner.
Why not dinner?
You're leading him on with dinner. You're saying something I don't think you want to say.
And what am I saying?
That you want to jump back in the sack with him. I mean, come on. You ever go to dinner with a disgruntled ex when she really wasn't just looking for some tasty dessert?
He's kind of being protective of his brother, which was cute in a way, but obviously it was just kind of drama being played for laughs. I think one more thing is like they have no confidence in Turtle that he can pull this off the whole episode. They're like mad at him for maxing out the credit cards. They're yelling at him about like whatever, and he's like, guys, please have a little faith in me. And then, he comes through in the end.
Yep.
Hannah, you'll find if you watch more episodes of Entourage, in the end, it all works out every time.
But I guess there's like you look up to it and you're not watching it to laugh at them. You're watching it in like an inspiring way.
Yeah, wish fulfillment. What was your least favorite moment from this week's episode?
It's not really a moment, but the only thing that annoyed me was how Drama calls Vince bro. Like obnoxious so many times where he'll just be like, bro. And I'm like, you don't have to. Also, like, bro, maybe because nowadays bro is so like overused. Maybe it was cool back then to be like bro, but now I'm like, geez, like inappropriate times he would just say, and then bro, good morning, bro. And it happened like a couple too many times in a row, and I just wrote that down. I'm like,
Fair
I
enough.
just wrote every time Drama says bro to Vince.
Yo. Morning, bro. Eggs Benedict?
Yeah, it'd be great, Johnny. Hey, E. Script is good.
Wow.
Real good.
You read it?
Cover to cover.
When?
Last night.
Couldn't sleep, bro?
I slept like a baby.
Well, if it wasn't clear, Drama's supposed to be a lot older than the guys. They never, ever, like, identify how old he is, but he could be anywhere from, like, 10 to 15 to even 20 years older than...
So he's just like but then why have they been friends forever?
Well, he's Vince's older brother, or older half-brother, actually. So, like...
Okay, so that's why he's calling him bro, but
Yes.
still it's annoying. It's like, we get it. You have to remind us you guys are related all the fucking time.
Yes, but I mean, it's also, this episode aired in 2007. That was a regular parlance amongst young males in 2007, myself included.
Oh my God, maybe because I was the one that then had to deal with all the guys who thought they were cool calling each other bro all the fucking time. So maybe that's why I have animosity towards it.
You have PTSD from all of that. That's what it is.
I do, that's what it is. It really probably was cool back in that time.
So I have my least favorite... Drama's one of, like, the best characters on the show. One of my least favorite moments from this episode comes from him, actually, and that is when Vince is blowing out his candles and Drama's like, hey, don't forget about me, bro. I had your back all year. Like, he's trying to take Vince's birthday wish.
Happy birthday to you. Yeah! Hey, don't forget about me, bro. I had your back all year.
You want me to put you in my wish, Johnny?
If you don't mind.
What do you want him to wish for, Drama? That someone recognizes you?
First of all, you don't say what you want your wish to be out loud, you dumb fuck. Second, I think Vince could figure out a more rewarding wish to fulfill for me.
Don't worry, I'm gonna wish for what I always wish for, that we all have a great year.
You said it out loud, you fucked us all.
I didn't understand that. What type of grown man, A, asks for someone's wish, and B, like, makes a big public deal out of it? Really strange.
Maybe it was just like they wanted to make it less corny and add some like humor to it. But yeah, you're right. It almost was like I would get pissed that he was doing that. It came out of nowhere. Yeah, there was no like storyline that would have made you think that he should do that.
And before we move on to the next category, I wanted to ask you, so I mentioned it earlier, but there's a lot of weird friend talk. Like, people being like, are you coming as a friend? We're still friends, right? Yeah, we're always going to be friends. As long as Ari's there dressed as a friend.
Yeah, when they said dressed as a friend, I was like, is that some weird agent talk that I don't know?
Well, you should know Ari's going to be at Vince's birthday party. You okay with that?
As long as he's dressed as a friend.
I just don't refer to people as friends as often as the people in this episode did. I have friends, obviously.
Maybe it's because Facebook was big at the time. I don't know.
Maybe.
No, but
that's a good point.
It's interesting. Yeah, is he coming as a friend? What else is he coming as besides an agent? It's like, is he trying to fuck him? Like, I don't know what they are insinuating. Everyone is always friends. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It didn't make that much sense. I've never heard that term, and I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen.
Hannah, any lines or quotes jump out at you from this episode as being particularly good?
Oh my God. Okay. So this stuck out to me. I actually laughed out loud, and maybe because it's also kind of funny now, because if you follow me on Instagram, I tweet a lot, and I love memes. I love pop culture. It's when Ari was really worked up because of Amanda and the first scene with Lloyd, and he goes, oh, shut up, Lloyd, I'll be fine. And Lloyd goes, your horoscope doesn't think so. It says that this is going to be a very tumultuous week.
I put him on the fucking court on Arbor Day, and that's her present? God, she's so fucking wrong for him.
Ari, I hate to see you like this.
Oh, shut up, Lloyd, I'll be fine.
Your horoscope doesn't think so. So this was going to be a very tumultuous week.
It just was so different than like any other funny lines in the show, and I laughed out loud. I thought it was amazing.
I love it too. Ari's like,
I bet she'll be at his birthday party. Fuck! He'll probably let her blow out his candles.
But also him bringing up your horoscope, like horoscopes piss guys off. Like if you even say horoscope in front of a guy, they'll be like, "Oh, horoscope." Oh. So the fact he brought up horoscopes when he was really mad and used it against him makes me laugh.
I don't mean to throw my beautiful wife under the bus by any means, but she's from Southern California, and she's recently gotten into the crystals.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's some LA shit.
I know. She just puts a few around the house. She doesn't subscribe to it fully, but I'm like, what is this doing here? And she's like, oh, it's good.
She took hard-earned money out of her, income into crystals. So even though she claims she's half-assing it, I did a podcast in LA, and there were crystals everywhere, and then she told me that she had to start later because her cat psychic.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, LA is fun. We're having fun.
My wife isn't there yet, but I'm like, this is a rock. This is a rock sitting next to our bed. That's all I'm going to say.
It's energy. It affects the energies in the room. But yeah, Lloyd killed it with that line.
Awesome. I really liked Drama and Turtle sitting on the couch arguing over the features of the party.
Car service for $9,000. What's that all about?
That's for drunk girls to get home safely.
We don't need any dead bodies littering Sunset. Better keep that.
Maybe I could lose the floral arrangements for $4,000.
I don't know. Nothing gets a girl wet. Like a calla lily centerpiece.
There's just no way to do this. Maybe we should call it off.
We're not calling it off, Turtle. We're not getting any younger. How many of these things do you think we got left?
We got a lot left. Don't drag us into your twilight years drama.
Funny.
They should have made him have some grays or something, because there's a lot of references to how old he is.
Well, so that's kind of a running joke on the show. He's been in bit parts on TV and movies since the 80s. He refers to being in high school when they were in high school. It's like this running dad that Drama's just old, and it's really well done over the course of the show.
Cool.
Hey guys, I wanted to quickly talk to you again about the Hoodies Basic Collection from Highly Clutch T-shirts. These badass hoodies are pre-laundered so they won't shrink. The tag is screen printed on so you won't have an annoying tag scratching at your neck. And the fitted design with a classic drawstring will have you looking great this fall. You'll also save money by loading up on 2 hoodies instead of 1. Each hoodie retails at $27, but if you buy them in a pack of 2, it's $49 total, so you save yourself some coin. At this price point, these are a complete steal. Grab your hoodie now at highlyclutch.com and click the Basics tab at the top of the page to shop the collection. And now, back to Oh Yeah, the Entourage podcast. So I have a new category this week. New season, new category. Super excited to introduce it. It's kind of special thanks to you. Every week, we see Turtle and Drama give each other shit. E gives Drama shit. Everyone kind of makes fun of each other. What was the biggest burn of the week this week, Hannah?
So I, sticking with my favorite character, which has become Lloyd, who crushed that scene, is when I do think Drama's hilarious, and when Drama gets on the phone with Lloyd and he doesn't know that Lloyd is just using him to get to Vince, and Lloyd is just rolling his eyes and he's like, "Did you see my billboard? Did you see my billboard?" And they're going back and forth. He's like, I didn't know it was even up. And then you think the joke's over, and then he's like,
You obviously don't drive Sunset.
To and from work every day, but I'll look again.
Do.
I will.
and that just made me laugh so hard. That was the biggest burn, because burning Drama is great because he just sets himself up for that.
Definitely, yeah. Eventually he's like,
Yeah, he's here, Lloyd. Why?
Because, I don't know, Ari's here too. Maybe they should say hi.
I don't think that's such a great idea, Lloyd.
Put him on the phone, Johnny, or no more agency comps at Burke Williams.
Drama. He immediately hands it over.
But the way the straight guys burn each other is always funny and cool. But there's something about the sass of a gay guy burning a straight guy that just makes me laugh so hard.
And we've talked in past episodes, and this is kind of Lloyd's come up. He starts to have a bigger presence in the show, and he ultimately becomes a main cast member towards the end of the show.
It's funny because he really struck me as a really great character.
Yeah.
It added some estrogen to all the testosterone in a non-sexual way.
What's funny is if I had you on for another episode with no Lloyd and no Amanda, it would just be way too much testosterone for you, I'm assuming.
It's good to break it apart. I think men would even agree. Why do you think they have the sex and the women in it? And it's because it's needed. Yep. You want to see a different side of guys that isn't just chest bumping all the time.
100%. And speaking of Amanda, I think the biggest burn goes to her. It's when her and Ari just get done confronting each other in front of Vince.
He'll be back, hack.
You want me to walk you to your car? This town's not safe for a bitch.
I loved it.
Oh,
I loved her kind of throwing down.
Her burn was so good. Yeah, that nailed it. She nailed it.
So yeah, new category. It's going to be around all season. Biggest burn. Special honor of you, Hannah Berner.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
For,
Thank you so much.
Of course.
I'm honored.
Every week we talked about our favorite songs that we heard in this week's episode. We have a playlist.
Do you have a Spotify playlist?
Yeah, we have a Spotify playlist. It's in the show notes of today's episode.
Awesome.
We have all the songs that we talked about. Any songs jump out at you as being particularly good?
Do you know what's so weird? It's like when you go out and you're drunk all night and in the morning you can't remember one song.
Fair enough.
That played at the club. So like I watched this episode twice and I didn't hear one song.
It's all good. It's all good. This song list for this episode is like very much a time capsule for the mid-2000s. So they're sitting courtside at the Lakers game and they hear the song Hear Me Coming by Young Jock.
Come on, tonight we're celebrating somebody's birthday.
Hey, she remembered.
Nice. What did you get me?
Great gift, Amanda. Great gift. Thank you.
You are all welcome.
Young Jock was a personal favorite
Anything
of mine.
with Young Jock, I'm down with.
And then 3 kind of like massive hits during the party scene. We have Bombs Over Bad Dad by Outkast. Give It Up by Twista and Pharrell, which is kind of an underground like hip hop song that like really.
I love Twista and I love Pharrell.
And then the mic drop moment, Vince like turning to E and Amanda and going, well, we should hold off on glimpses just in case Ari's right. And then Lap Dance by NERD comes in.
Just got word from Sam Mendes' people. They want to skip the meeting and go right to an offer.
Nice. I like the new team. It's going to be a good year.
You know, I agree, but actually, I think we should hold off on glimpses for a while, just in case Ari's right.
I'm an outlaw.
It's one of the best NERD songs from the early 2000s. I'm a huge Pharrell NERD fan, and just awesome moment.
I think I love hip hop, and I think like it goes with the vibe of like fame, money, success. So I think the songs work so well that nothing hit me like in a way that I was like, oh, that song. So I think all the songs were great. All the songs were the best for me.
Quick story time. I'm from Chicago, and I used to work at a top 40 radio station right out of school. Radio back in 2010, as you can imagine, it was a dire place to be. But every week you'd have like a music act come through to promote whatever show they were doing at like the United Center or whatever big venue in Chicago. And after their like drop-in, the entire staff of the radio station could like line up and take a photo with that artist, and I always felt terrible because I was like, this sucks. Like, they're just here early in the morning and they want to sell some tickets, and now they have to take like 50 photos with a bunch of strangers. Like, what a nightmare. So I never did it, ever, except when Pharrell came in, because I'm that bit of a Pharrell fan. I was like, fuck, I gotta take a photo with this guy. So somewhere on the internet there is a like picture of me in my B96
You didn't
t-shirt.
even get the photo?
I don't know, I got it.
Okay.
It's somewhere.
Okay.
I just don't know where.
Yeah. Pharrell is like a true artist too, like everything from his fashion to his music to just the like culture around him.
So every week on Entourage, there's usually some pretty big celebrity cameos in each episode. Unfortunately, this week there weren't any major ones, but there were 2 small ones in the party scene. Do you know who I'm referring to?
Well, I thought the Victoria's Secret girls were huge because Alessandra Ambrosio, and then
Perfect.
I'm looking for the other one's name right now.
Isabel Goulart.
Isabel Goulart. So Goulart, yeah. So I would argue they're like 2 of them. I would get the Victoria's Secret magazine.
Yep.
I probably would use it in a different way that men would, but I would. That's where you like order all your bikinis, and they actually had good clothes back in the day. And I always thought that like they were the 2 prettiest, but back then no one had Instagram. You just saw them whenever you'd get the magazine. And they've grown to be like such iconic stars and have so many cameos, and their Instagrams are huge, and now they're like huge models, and they're like the 2 top ones. Now they do the fashion shows. I also noticed though that like when they were going around these parties, like the LA parties, the makeup girls were wearing is so different. No plastic surgery, like you see no big lips, where now it would just be like tons of fillers and lips everywhere. So I just noticed how like normal all the girls looked, and it was actually like kind of refreshing to me.
So let's talk about the Angels a little bit, and let's talk about how this episode maybe has aged.
Yeah.
Really quick, as mentioned, Alessandra Ambrosia. I could never nail that accent. You nailed it. In 2012, she was like top 5 on Forbes' list of highest paid models. She was named one of the most beautiful people in the world by People magazine. Isabel Goulard, she was, Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, Armani Exchange, and she was featured at the end of the 2016 Summer Olympics closing ceremony in Rio.
She's Brazilian, yeah.
Yeah, it ended with a fireworks display and a tribute to their signature event, Carnival, which showcased their dance culture. A 250-person parade was led by her.
Wow.
Fucking insane.
Wow. And she's just like bringing out his cake like a bottle girl in this episode. She has 5 million followers on Instagram. I'm looking up Alessandra right now, who has 10 million followers on Instagram. She's also founder of her own business now. Good for her. So these girls, like, they are fucking way richer than Vince, Adrian. I would argue that they definitely, it's like a Tom Brady, Giselle type thing. Like, these girls are killing it.
Definitely. So they're like the biggest celebrity cameos, yet they go so under the radar for a lot of people. Because to a lot of people, I'm sure it was just like, pretty girl in a Victoria's Secret.
Also, their faces look exactly the same, which is hilarious. Maybe like slightly bigger lips,
insane.
But yeah, their faces look the same.
We just mentioned it, but so like how would this episode be different if it took place in 2019? Or what maybe stood out to you as just being different about this episode?
Oh, can I say my worst celebrity cameo? Because I have one.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was one.
I think the worst celebrity cameo was Kobe Bryant. And the only thing they showed of him was him passing, which we all know is something he doesn't do.
That's good.
So
very good.
That's my line I wanted to say for that. My little sports knowledge.
No, that's great. He also is wearing number 8, which was his old number, that's kind of an outdated thing. He changed his number.
Like that. Yep. I grew up on him as number 8, but yeah, he was during that time. Him and Shaq were huge, and I just noticed him passing the ball for someone else to shoot was adorable and fake.
Why would they do that? That must have been CGI.
I know. Something. Why would they not have him like shooting or like alley-ooping it to Shaq? I don't know.
Definitely.
Well, okay, there was a lot of like outdated things.
Sure.
But it starts off with Drama getting Turtle to take photos of him in front of his billboard, and he goes,
"You got the whole thing?"
I got the whole thing 1,400 different ways already, Drama.
Just keep snapping. It's digital. There is no waste.
Yeah, only my time.
Come on. We're not going anywhere until somebody recognizes me.
That was a new thing in 2007, Hannah.
He like had to explain that it was digital, which was hysterical. I also thought the party sponsors, like at the end, like you're like, how's he gonna afford it? And then he's like, guys, you're not gonna fucking believe it. I got sponsors. We're like, now immediately they'd be like, okay, you're planning a party, we got all these sponsors. That's just like how influencers live their life. So that was adorable to me. He's like, guys, it's gonna blow your fucking mind.
We don't have to spend our own money on this.
But it's also so ahead of their time. I know there was always like sponsors, but him holding the Svedka before he had to blow a candle is like what celebrity life is all encompassing now. And we don't even notice half the sponsors most of the time.
And I don't think most of the general population cares, but I think this episode did a good job of shining a light on like, this is how easy celebrities have it. They just need to like hold a bottle up and the whole party is like paid for.
Whoa! Don't blow anything out yet. Am I holding this up while you do it?
Oh, Jesus, Turtle.
But also that, like, how many people probably drank Svedka after that? How many guys are subconsciously shopping and they see the Svedka bottle and subconsciously they have good feelings of watching Entourage, seeing it, partying, and they bought it. Like, it probably did work.
Well, I've admitted this before on the pod, and I was a shameless bro back in 2007, but the boys used to drink Budweiser Select, which was like an even lighter version of Bud Light in the early 2000s, and I used to drink Budweiser Select because the guys on Entourage did, and I'm like, wow, it worked so well.
Keep that body right. Also, I going back to what I was saying with the party and like the women, I was watching it from a perspective of like what LA parties would be like, and no one had plus plastic surgery, and all the girls they chose, like the style is so different. Like there's so much eyeshadow where like now it's all just like fake lashes and big lips and like glowy, and it's just none of the girls, like the look was so strange to me, but also so refreshingly like everyone just looked like the girl next door who was trying a little too hard.
Yeah, bleach blonde hair, fake tan.
And I was like, oh, are these like the hot girls they're choosing? And then I'm like, wait, people weren't like aesthetically manufacturing their face to look like robots back then.
Pumping a ton of chemicals into their bodies, yeah.
Exactly.
2 more quick things, or 3 more quick things. Yeah, one of the party sponsors is Olympus cameras, which I don't think...
Oh my God, I think I had one of those back in the day. And you'd always lose it. Like, you'd go to the party with your camera and you'd lose it and be like, not again.
Go buy another one at Target.
Yeah.
Turtle says, we're going to the greatest party in the world, the Yellow Pages, which nobody uses anymore. He would just, first off, Turtle would have 1 million Instagram followers, and he'd just be like, throwing my boy Vinny Chase a party who wants SpawnCon. Like, that'd be it, and it'd be done.
Yeah.
And then the idea of the boys taking a limo to the birthday party seemed a little, like, outdated and weird. Like, why are you in a limo?
It's like a prom. Like they're going to prom.
Yeah, it'd be an Uber XL. Like, that's it.
Exactly. Oh my God. Those also the fact like they'd show just like people at a game or like at a party and there's no cell phones anywhere where like normally people are taking photos or texting. So that was something I noticed as well.
I think it's kind of cool, to be honest with you. It reminds us of a simpler time.
A simpler, beautiful time. Yeah.
All right, we're rounding the bend here. A few categories left. We've talked about Lloyd a little bit. I kind of want to give Lloyd the Sits Man Award this week. So the person who comes in and just makes the most of their time on screen and like makes the biggest impact while not doing a ton. Do you agree with me?
We're on the exact same page. I wrote LLOYD. He killed it.
100%. He talks Ari into calling Vince.
So, listen, as long as I've got you on the phone, is Vince there?
What are you doing?
What you should have done a long time ago, getting your man back.
It was great. Lloyd has a moment in this last half of season 3, and I'm looking forward to breaking it down week by week with you guys.
And we probably aren't the only ones that felt that, and maybe that's why his character really got larger throughout.
Definitely. What do you think was your favorite Ari Gold moment this week?
I thought his best line was when he's awkwardly courting E and Vince at, I'm going to call it the brunch. And they're purposely like being awkward and quiet. And he just goes,
weird. Kind of feels like I'm trying to fuck you guys.
Are you?
And I was like, he nailed it. Like he hit the best thing with comedy is just to say what you're like really feeling when things are awkward. Like even if you do a bad joke, being like, oh, sorry, that was very inappropriate considering all the like middle-aged men watching me right now. So him saying that was so refreshing and self-aware, and I loved it.
If you just say the thing that's on everyone's mind, that usually can elicit like a very natural response, which is usually
and then
laughter.
It made everything after that even funnier because you're thinking about how it's like he's trying to fuck them.
We've talked a lot about Johnny Drama. Any Johnny Drama moments jump out at you, Hannah, as being particularly funny?
I actually think the same thing that you didn't like when he was kind of like jumping in on, I thought it was a very corny when he was like, I hope everyone has a great year. I'm like, really? That's the best cheers you could think of for your big 30th party.
I know.
And then, but it allowed Johnny Drama to have, I think, one of my favorite lines where he goes, you said it out loud. You just fucked us all. So that was my favorite one in the end. Like he redeemed himself with that line.
Fair enough. Drama's always very sensitive about his cooking. I like that he was like,
I'm with Vince. The whispering stops, or nobody's getting a souffle at dinner tonight.
Relax, Drama. It's about the party venue.
threatening them
like
with
a
dessert.
dad thing. Like my dad is always like, okay, what are we eating? Is there enough food for me? And I think maybe it's like an older guy thing, kind of taking care of them, and it's hilarious.
Who won this episode besides Vince? Vince can never win an episode because he's the A-list movie star. So which character, in your opinion, won this week?
Amanda, hands down. She
Yeah.
came in, she killed it. You want to see more of her, and you actually know that maybe she, especially with that line calling Ari a bitch, it's like she's not just gonna get owned by him, and he's not just gonna win Vince back that easily.
100%. I'm gonna give a special shout out to Turtle as well. Turtle obviously came through with the party. They made money off the party instead of losing a bunch of money. So maybe Turtle, but I think Amanda's kind of the front runner here. Also, we gave Lloyd the Sits Man Award, but he could also be a winner as well. So
I'm also gonna argue this could be I think Turtle is adorable, and I love when they just show all his smiles and stuff. And his New York accent is like, it's pretty good, and I love his New York repping because like I'm from Brooklyn, so I love it. Like I don't think he's like the greatest actor on the show. I just think he's adorable. I also want to say I've ran into Adrian Grenier, whatever, in Williamsburg before, and that was interesting to me. I think he has the most beautiful blue eyes ever. Like his blue eyes will always win the episode. Like whenever the light hits it, you're like, hi. But it was funny. He just looked like a skinny like guy who hasn't washed his hair in a while in Williamsburg when I saw him.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be a movie star. That's what's interesting.
Exactly.
That might have not aged well, right? Like,
yeah, like he was more beefed up on Entourage, and like he has an air about him. He probably like I remember him in the Anne Hathaway movie. He killed it, but like years later, he probably like I want to see him in more stuff. He's so talented, but it's just so funny how much he fits into that like low key hipster Williamsburg crew where he was supposed to be like the ultimate bro movie star.
I know. I think he never quite comfortably fit into that role, and I think he's even said as much, and he's really distanced himself from the show and really leans into the environmentalism.
Yeah, like I could see him just doing like underground documentaries now that no one watches.
That's exactly what he does, and he does a bunch of rock climbing.
That's why I think he was so great exercise, Brooklyn Boulder. I think it was so charming too that he wasn't the like douchey Brad Pitt. Like there was something about him that was different and star-like. He had that star quality. He was different than all the other guys in a way.
Well, and I think what draws many people to Entourage is that while the crew is like elevated kind of stereotype versions of like a famous group of guys, like they still are kind of relatable guys you'd still want to hang out with. So Vince seems very approachable and laid back, and I think that's kind of the appeal and why the show became so successful.
Yeah.
Because you're right, if he was a douche from out of the gate or even a douche at any point in the middle, like people would have turned off the show.
You're so right.
Was this episode an A-list episode, a B-list episode, or a D-list episode, Hannah?
So I haven't seen any other episodes, but I would say I don't think this was A-list. I think because I think this is one of those first episodes of a season where they're setting it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give it a B. I think it's the setup. They did a great job, and you want to see where things go.
Definitely. Solid B to start the new mini season. Sometimes we did B pluses, B minuses. I think it's just a B down the middle. There are some great episodes in the later part of this season 3B, so it's just a nice way to kick it off. All right, Hannah, the question that I love asking all new guests. What character in the Entourage are you closest to in real life?
I would say I'm closest to I think I'm actually closest to Drama. Like I shit on him the most because I probably see things in myself. Like I like to be the like silly, self-deprecating, loud one in the group, but also low key like I want to be successful.
Yeah, duh.
So I just appreciate his silliness.
No, he's the best. That's awesome. I love that. I love that you're the female Johnny Drama. Hannah, this has been fantastic. You fucking crushed it for someone who's never seen an episode before.
Oh my God, thank you. Well, I think because I was like, I finally have an excuse to watch it, and if I'm going to watch it, I'm going to give it my all.
Are you going to watch any more episodes, you think?
I think I might.
You don't have to.
I think I might. I wasn't like in love with it in terms of like what's going to happen. I think if I started from the beginning, I'd have a different reaction.
I think you would too. I think you would especially like it because in this first season, it's all about them coming from New York. So like it's like 4 fish out of water from New York to LA. So yeah, give it a shot if you want. You're a busy girl. Where can the listeners follow you, watch you, etc.?
Awesome. So I have a comedy mental health podcast, Berning in Hell, BERNING. We have some great recent guests. Nikki Glazer came on. It's just a fun, open exchange talking about people's demons. And then watch Bravo Summer House if you guys love kind of that like light drama. It's about kids who go out in the Hamptons and have fun and fight and fuck, whatever. And then follow me on Instagram at Being Burns, BEING BERNZ. Get more of my personality and see what I'm up to. I have live shows coming up in November too. I have live shows in Philly, Long Island, and Boston. So if you want to see me live, do some stand-up, do some interviews, go to my Instagram, link in bio, check it out.
And I will include a link to all the tickets to her upcoming shows in the show notes of today's episode. Guys, if she's coming to your town, please go see Hannah. She's fucking hilarious. She's a good friend of Bro Bibles. Hannah, thank you so much for taking time out of your morning to talk about Entourage.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll have you back soon, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.